Welcome back to the Team Ham channel, guys. I am here with Pepper, aka Sam, aka the Hamster. This man made it all the way to second place with his in V Premium with his team, and he was playing not Thavis, Maelstrom.
No, don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. No.
Well, Sam, it's all on you, man. Tell us about your deck.
Okay, so what I played was actually last card Rev. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. It was actually Maelstrom. Maelstrom, aka the soggiest overlord that ever existed. I've loved this deck ever since I first started realizing that Maelstrom did everything that Overlord did, just with a lot more friends, and it's just turned into one of my favorite decks. Even if some people just constantly just like give me that look of like, really, you're running him? Okay. So anywho, so let's just go over it. Starting out, the shiniest of cardboards for the OG Maelstrom.
I'm just gonna flip it around so people can read it.
Gotcha.
There you go.
So yeah, so with him, his counterblast 1, give him the 3k power to the front row. Surprisingly, in V, that matters sometimes. And with the second effect is that whenever something battles and it's the third or fourth battle and it hits, you can pitch 2 and restand the boy. Of course, at first, when I first read him back in the day, I thought it was like, okay, so you're probably gonna, lose drive in order to do it. No. That's why he's better than Overlord.
Wow.
Yeah, I just said it.
Strong words.
So yeah. So if he ever can restand by his effect, he does not lose drive. So your hand can go from very little to, hey, you just drew 4 cards because of things we'll talk about later.
Okay.
So he is the early game pressure. But the true OG of this deck is my boy Gloria Maelstrom. He's the one who I built this deck to focus on.
Oh.
He's always my second ride. Because with him, if you have the OG or a Maelstrom in Soul, when you counterblast 1, you give the front row 10k, and then for the rest of the turn, no intercepting, and your opponent can only guard with 1 card for the battle. And there is a glorious feeling when someone who's playing something that's heavy on intercepts, like with Protect 2, like a Malkuth Malek deck, or anything that's just constantly like, oh, I got like this massive library in my hand. It's like 14 cards. Ooh, that's so cool. Oh, but I can only guard with 1. Oh, and look, it's made magic numbers that you have to guard with at minimum 20k plus. Fine, I guess I lose. So, I love him just because he steals games. He forcibly makes your opponent not be able to guard with their library in hand, and then they're just hoping for defensive checks. Which is why if you're at 5 damage and I go with him, I'm just like, I'm pretty confident in this. So yeah, so those are the 2 main powerhouses of my deck. Next, we get on to the pieces that make the deck work better. Starting out with one of my hit confirmers, Elpida. I probably said her name wrong, but she'll forgive me. So, her whole thing is while she's on Vanguard or Rearguard, Rearguard or Guardian Circle, if my Vanguard is Maelstrom, she gets plus 5k power and 5k shield, including on the opponent's turn. Oddly enough, when you're just sitting there with a 14k attacker and someone wants to run into her, and you're just like, okay, cool, swing with your 13k, I don't care. It's like, aw, she gained the power on the other turn? Yeah. So she is really good just for that one effect, just to put her at a 14k beat stick because my Vanguard is always going to be Maelstrom. And plus, she's a 10k shield, either by intercepting or by just dropping from hand. So already, solid card. But that's literally not even that important. The important thing comes down to the second effect, that when she swings for the cost of a counterblast, hit or miss, on-hit effects will hit. Which includes Maelstrom, OG Maelstrom's effect, which will allow him to restand, guaranteed. Because that was the biggest problem with Maelstrom back in the day, is that people just like, okay, I'm just going to keep everything, I'll take that rear guard. It's like, But now the third one, okay, hard PG that one. And so it's like, you're never going to restand Maelstrom. No one's ever going to let that third or fourth third or fourth attack hit. She's one of the reasons why it's like, yeah, we don't care about that anymore. So yeah, love her. About a year ago, we went into a tournament where I only ran her at 3. That was a mistake. I have learned from my mistake.
Good.
Yes. A few of my teammates, cough, were very upset with my choice like a year ago. Anywho, next one, we have another one of my big hitters, Drifting Flow Fencer. So for him, on place on Vanguard Rearguard, check top 7 for a Maelstrom card and just add it to hand.
That's pretty simple.
Real simple, really good. And his second effect is that when he's attacking at the 4th battle or more, he just gets 15k. Solid, simple effect. Everybody knows him and loves him.
Oh.
And what's great about him is that when he gets up to 24, when you're on your Gloria Maelstrom turn, that can put you to 34k power. And as we all know about magic numbers, oh look, you can't guard, unless you're running, unless you're one of those crazy people who runs, crit sentinels, congratulations, you're not going to be able to guard that. It's just, I swing, I'm going to hit. So, usually. So, love Drifting Flow. Didn't like having him at 3. That was felt like a weird thing, but there was a reason for that. And I'm going to save him for the last grade 2. Next, one of my interesting little buddies. Press Stream. Everyone knows and loves him. So for him, as an act ability, once per turn, you can counterblast 1 and pitch a Maelstrom card. You give a Maelstrom plus 10k and plus 1 drive for the turn. That is one of the key things about him. That's why he is one of the linchpins in the deck. Not the, but a linchpin. Because when you're dealing with the original Maelstrom, cool, I'm going to go ahead and give him plus 1 drive. So now he's swinging for triple drive. When he's going to restand, people always assume, okay, so that drive is gone, right? No, he's swinging again for triple drive. So cool, you went from a triple drive to a hexa drive. Nice. And I have done this before. Didn't get to in the tournament, but I have had it where you'll be flooded with Maelstrom cards in hand. Yeah. Almost guarantee you're going to have at least 3 to 4 at any given time. I've actually had it before where I had 3 of these Press Stream Dragons out on the field, spent the 3 counterblasts, pitched the 3 Maelstroms, so I was swinging first for a Penta drive, and then when he restood, made a total of 10 drives, so a Deca drive. And that's why I'm just like, Maelstrom, but more moist. And I guarantee you, once you start swinging with that many drives, your hand gets nice and flooded with both defensive cards and for cards that you can be like, okay, they're going to wipe my board, cool, I can just replenish it with the 6 to 10 cards I drew because of the extra drives. So this deck builds hand pretty easy. 3 was, again, for the mystery card that's coming up later. Sometimes I want to run him at 4, but honestly, late game, he's not as useful. He's really good for that one OG Maelstrom turn to really get your hand good and solid and ready for the next turn. After that, he's a little bit less because he is an 8k power. So, doesn't really hit magic numbers very well. Alright, second to last grade 2, my Coral Assaults.
Another staple.
Yes. So yeah, when they're swinging is the 4th battle or more, 15k power. Hey, Drifting Flow Fencer numbers. And then the other effect, which for the longest time I thought was more important, was that at the end of the battle, if there's been 4 or more swings, you just tuck Coral Assault into the soul and you just draw a card. Cool. Build soul, draw cards. Exactly what Aqua Force needed for the longest time. Now, I dropped Coral Assault from 4 to 2. That was probably one of the hardest choices I had to make because I do love Coral Assault, but the other pieces, specifically the grade 2s, were more important, in my opinion, to the actual gameplay than Coral Assault. Yes, Coral Assault gets big, beefy numbers and draws you cards, but it doesn't make the deck turn on. That's what I would, and usually like I was always bouncing between like, okay, should I run like 4 of the Press Stream Dragons, or should I run 4 of the Coral Assaults? And then Bushy decided to go and give me something that I consider to be a new staple that I'm going to be putting into any deck that I can get my hands on. And that is this.
The promo.
The promo. So.
Can't wait for Narcomi to get theirs.
Oh, God. Okay, so let me just go over it real quick. So on Vanguard or Rearguard, once per turn, when this unit attacks while boosted, you counterblast 1, stand him, and if it's the 4th battle of the turn or more, he gets 10k until end of turn. And if he's on Vanguard Circle, you choose a card from your hand and discard it. So, to be honest, in the entire tournament, never rode him once. He never really came up to that. I usually always wanted to go Drifting Flow Fencer or something else for that. But to be perfectly honest, even though that's a very, very good effect, that is not the reason why I'm running him at 4. What I am running him at 4 is because of his second ability. So, in your hand, at the beginning of your ride phase, if your Vanguard is grade 1 or less, you discard him. You look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose a grade 2 or less card from among them, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Note that does not say grade 2 or less unit. That says grade 2 or less card. Yep. So if you have a specific, if ever you needed a order to run with them, you can grab that. But what he's really there for is for your grade when you're sitting on grade 0 or grade 1, and you have him in opening hand. It's like, okay, draw for turn, cool, ride phase. Before we get into that, discard him. Check the top 5. See if you can find a missing piece that you didn't have. Like, if I didn't have a good grade 2 to ride. Like, if I had, say, either Coral Assault or Press Stream Dragon, but I wanted to go for Drifting Flow. Okay, pitch him, dig for it. Or even for your grade 1s. If you're like, okay, we'll get to my grade 1 line in a second. But, like, if you don't have a grade 1, then you're like, okay, I have these in hand. I actually had games where I would open hand with, triggers, grade 2s, these guys, and grade 3s, but no grade 1s. I would keep them in hand before putting them back for mulligan.
Really?
Just because the fact that you can search through the top 5, it's almost like a free G-assist. And now here's one other big thing. I did get an official ruling before the tournament. If you start in your opening hand with multiples of these, you can activate all of them in your opening hand at the same time. Now, any that you would get because of his effect, those you can't use their whole at the beginning of the ride phase, because it says at the beginning of the ride phase. So an official ruling, if you have, say, 3 of these in your opening hand, drop 3, you're gonna G-assist 3 times, and you're gonna find every piece that you need. And you're digging through your deck, you're not having to discard any of those cards. So any triggers that you see in there, cool, just ignore them. Just put them back in there, because deck thinning, deck winning. Mm-hmm. So, I took out 2 Coral Assaults, a Press Stream Dragon, and 1 Drifting Flow just for this guy. And to be perfectly honest, this card put in so much work that even in like my Nubatama deck, running it at 4.
Wow.
Yeah. Any deck that I have now that I can run these at 4 and have the actual space for it, they're going in at 4.
Dang.
And that is a hard line. Okay, so.
Wow.
Beaters and attackers. Talked about them. Now let's go for the supporting cast. Next, the boy, one of my absolute favorites, 4 Radiate Assaults. So when Radiator is placed, you Soul Blast 1, and he does almost the exact same thing that that Emerald Staff Elpisa does, or I probably said her name wrong. Emerald Staff, the grade 2, the hit confirm. He does the same thing, except it's going to be for the. Let me double check because I want to be not be like laughed at in the comment section. So when it's ever for the attack that he boosts or attacks, that column will confirm. Now, the other fun thing about him is that when you do that effect, if you have a Maelstrom in drop, you put it to the bottom of the deck and you draw. So replenishing the deck of Maelstroms, because you do always want to have a few in there to dig for. He, again, is one of the reasons that the deck works. Okay. And I wish that they made him a holo, because he deserves at minimum to be double rare. I agree. I feel like the him being a rare and the Emerald Staff being rare, I'm like, that they're too important. They're a necessity for any Maelstrom deck, and they almost guaranteed have to play it 4 of. So, love the guy. So good.
Chatura agrees with you. I wish Chatura was SP.
I might have thoughts about Narukami, but even all
he's a huge lover, guys. I'll say that. Look at his face. He loves them.
Yeah. There are very few decks out there that I will constantly be of the mind of, oh, you're Bushy Road's golden child, but they're out there. Yeah. It's nice.
Take.
It's nice having effects that you don't have to pay for.
Anyway,
back to Soggy Maelstrom.
Hot takes.
So, one of my other grade 1s that I run is Bubble Ball Corporal. So for her, on Vanguard or Rearguard, when the attack hits or the attack that you boosted hits, you dig through your top 7, get a Maelstrom card added to hand. Real simple effect, and it puts a lot of pressure on the grade 1 swing, because if you put her as Vanguard and put one behind her, cool. If you swing with both of those, congratulations. If you hit, you're digging twice. And this deck digs so many times in so many different ways for Maelstroms. I almost will always go through all 8 Maelstrom cards. One way or another, they will be out of my deck by like the second grade 3 turn. It's almost guaranteed. And so much deck thinning. It's nice.
Can confirm.
All right, and then the last of. The one that I've always kept him at 2, and he's always done enough work as a grade as a 2 of, is Analyze Shooter. For him, when the attack he boosted hits, you Soul Blast 1 and pitch a card from hand, and you go through your deck and get 2 different named Maelstrom cards and add them to hand. Now, usually whenever I talk to other people that play Maelstrom, surprisingly they don't want to run him because they think that the discard cost is too much. Normally I'm like, yeah, it can be, but the fact is that if you're running the deck properly, you only really need him to use his effect maybe once, just to get, an OG Maelstrom and then Gloria Maelstrom. After that, just use him as a 6k booster, and it doesn't seem like much, but 6k definitely puts in work. I love this guy because, again, you just get all the Maelstroms out of deck, and now you're just sitting pretty. You don't have to worry about drive checking Maelstroms and being, dry checks. Okay, so now we get to the part where my team had some thoughts, because I'm a maniac. I don't run Justin Bieber.
He means to draw trigger, guys.
Sure. I ran 4 of the Crit Sentinels. And I know that someone in the beginning of the video, I don't know who, they said that they were insane for running those. Yeah, she's amazing. There have been times when I did want the draw PG, but there's other times when if someone's swinging at my Vanguard for the high 30s, and I don't want to spend 2 cards to guard when I could just drop her. And the extra crit power, or the crit pressure, it really makes them start getting a little bit more hesitant after, say the first triple drive with Maelstrom, and they see oh, he's running a lot of crits. That happened when we got to top 8 and I had to play against my teammate, Ronald, when he saw me at one point have Maelstrom swing with 4 crits. And he's just, I'm sorry, Ronald. I heart you, but I had to beat you in that situation. I'm sorry.
He's not sorry at all.
Not at all. Following that lineup, running 2 more generic crits.
Okay.
Trying to put it to... I ran 6 crits, and I ran 6 fronts. Just because I wanted to have the extra little bit of pressure, just to make sure that keeping the Gloria Maelstrom turns effective, because on a Gloria Maelstrom turn, a front trigger means death.
Yeah.
Almost guaranteed. And if somehow you can hit 2, congratulations, your opponent will not win. And that is a Team Ham fact.
A Team Ham fact, huh?
Team Ham fact. Hashtag fact. By the way, you know how hard it is to find these?
the shiny ones?
The shiny dolphins? I need more. Please send any donations to the Team Ham chat. We will be sending that in the descriptions.
Oh,
below.
Okay.
So
I don't know what he's talking about.
And then rounding it all out, we had our 3 heals.
The 4 heals?
The grade 3 heals, yes. I love this card. I hate the fact that its artwork isn't as cool as some of the other heals that we have, but his effect is just too good. And I hate the fact that I can't go back now. When your opponent is trying to rush you down, my teammate Gloria with her nightmare dolls, and you can actually get a couple of these and stop the onslaught of the circus, or even just someone's trying to rush you down with say Luard, or even Gear Chronicle trying to swarm you down.
Or Narcon.
I didn't actually have to fight any Narakamis, thank God, at the tournament. I was lucky. A lot of Luards. So many Luards. I'm enough. I've had enough Luard in my life. But yeah. Oh, and my last thing I'm going to talk about, because again, after the tournament, my team had words. They had words.
Words.
Yeah. Oh, you already know where I'm going with this. Stop hating on Excel 1. This card. Okay. I'll be that guy. I'll devil's advocate for a second. There are some Excel clans. No, you don't really need Excel 1. Excel 2 is better because you generate more markers. Like Gold Paladins. If I ever saw a Gold Paladin run an Excel 1, I would kind of raise eyebrow at that. Tachi's, again, eyebrow raise. But for Maelstrom, because of the OG Maelstrom's insane turns of, Hexa Drive, Octa Drive, Deca Drive, your hand is going to be good. You do need cards, but to be honest, again, OG Maelstrom isn't my win con. It's Glory Maelstrom. When I can put a Drifting Flow on an Excel 1 marker, and suddenly he's swinging out for 34, that's above the magic number for your opponent to guard. And again, unless they're running a Crit Sentinel, and if they don't hit defensive checks, they can't guard that. Unless they're playing Majesty Lord Blast, but we don't care about that. Anywho.
I'm hurt.
Well, yeah. Cry me a river with your stupid standing, just what, 15k? 18. Oh, even better! Yeah, this is how much I care about MLB. So yeah, that was one thing I wanted to bring up, is that if you're planning on doing Maelstrom, do not just immediately go to Excel 2. Sometimes it is worth it. Other times, you need the power. And again, I don't say this for all Excel decks. There are some Excel decks, no, they just need the extra swingers. For Maelstrom though, no, he needs swingers that can hit over 34. Because if you can hit over that, again, I've been reiterating it, you hit over that, congratulations, your opponent is now sweating. So yeah, that is in general what I took to the tournament. I was carried like a sack of potatoes sometimes by my teammate, but as they will flat out say, when it came down to it, I came in clutch.
Yeah, you won the games that mattered.
Yes. And I did have a lot of fun at the tournament because it had been a long time since I'd played in a V tournament. The fact that I was flooded with so many Luards, I think in the grand total, I think I played like 6 that day, including in the top 8.
What seat were you in?
I was in C.
Oh, wow.
C is for Catwoman.
Okay.
So apparently, like, they were expecting just like whatever they were expecting, they weren't expecting me. And the thing is, wild card. You never know what you're gonna get in seat C. B, it's another, it's Luard. Oh, it's Chaos. Oh, it's gonna be Gear Chronicle. Okay, cool. That's why I usually enjoy getting like either lane C or lane A, because you're gonna get to see some weird and wacky things. I still can't stand Grand Blue. I'm gonna be that guy. The team that beat us in both in Swiss and in at the finals, that Grand Blue deck was just mean. And I have a fear of that stupid dragon.
Everyone hates the undead dragon.
Yeah. Except for Grand Blue players, because they're just like, he's my buddy.
Tito.
Yeah. Love you, Tito.
I just had a couple questions for you on your deck build.
Sure.
So, why didn't you run Reverse Maelstrom?
In my experience, Reverse Maelstrom never pulls his weight as much as I'd like him to. Because I want the OG Maelstrom to build up hand. I want Glory Maelstrom to win, whereas Reverse Maelstrom just seems to be kind of in the middle. He's a good crowd control, and he can make your opponent discard. But while that is nice, it's not going to be the push that you need to win.
Okay.
Because V is so fast these days that aside from a few decks, nothing is like stretched out. You have to be like by your second grade 3 turn swinging for game, not for sustained play. You might be able to do that in standard. Heck, you might even be able to do that in premium. I don't fully know, but in V, nah. If you're not swinging lethal by your second grade 3 turn, either your opponent's doing something right, you're doing something wrong, or you're just getting vanguarded.
Fair enough. Second question. Terrific Coil Dragon. You remember that card?
Oh, yeah.
Was there ever a thought process of maybe running that, or no?
See, originally I did consider him. Okay. I love the whole thing of him, like, just resanding and just getting nice and chunky. The problem was, I ran out of grade 2 space. I'm already, I lost count of how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Oh, wow.
I'm running 16 grade 2s. And the grade, the Searchers, Coral Assault, maybe. No. Drifting Foot, no. The On Hit, no. Right. So basically, like, all of that, and if I'm going to be really stubborn about that, all that, no. I can't get rid of any of this. Okay. The only space were the two wild card Coral Assaults. And to be honest, even with the multi-attacking and the potential for, making Maelstrom turns even scarier, Coral Assault pulls his weight a little bit more than that. Would I ever try him in the deck? Yeah. I would never say no to Terrific Coil. It's just that in this build, I just wanted to go for more consistent Glory turns.
Right. Mm-hmm. And Coral Assault definitely helps with the Glory turns, especially since he makes himself 24.
Right. Because like I was saying, in there I have a grand total of 5 units that by breathing, they are going to become a 24k swingers.
Right.
If not 34 if they're going to be on Excel ones. Or, 29k beaters if they're on Excel 2, if I don't feel frisky.
All right, and then last question. With the Heal Guardians, you felt that 4 was good for you? You didn't think about maybe trying a vanilla 20k shield, like a 3-1 split?
To be fair, I was terrified about V. I feel V is, like I said, it's going at the speed of light, you need to slow your opponent down. Because I don't have the cards to guard with half the time, because Aqua Force, as every Aqua Force player will ever tell you, is a combo piece reliant deck. I don't want to be getting cards out of my hand. I needed almost always the 10k to the Vanguard ability of the grade 3 heal. And I'm like, to be honest, in the entire tournament, I never felt at one point that, if only I had the extra 5k shield for an OG heal versus the heal Guardians. So yeah, no, I don't regret it at all.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do this deck profile. And to correct everyone on that, it's not Thavis.
It's not Thavis. I've run Thavis. I prefer Maelstrom.
But thank you so much again, Sam. If you guys have any questions for him, any recommendations for his deck, put it in the comments. He loves reading the comments as well.
I do. I read every single one. I cry sometimes, but I do read them.
See? He doesn't hurt, guys. He doesn't bite. We promise. But anyway, thank you so much again, Sam. Please, guys, like and subscribe if you like this type of content. Let us know what you want in future videos. Sam, any last words?
Stop hating on Excel 1. It's good. Sometimes.
And stop hating on Narukami.
No.